All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, dive into the TA. All right, guys, we did have that big gap up today. It was not the wisest decision to be chasing a 3% gap up over there on QQQ. We did gap right underneath resistance here. We went up, we tagged that resistance. We had the 15-minute bearish divergence, just forming all night over here on SPY, on QQ, ES, NQ, IWM, probably had the same things going on. So we were looking for the sell going on up here. We didn't know exactly where it's going to be, whether it was going to be 544.28 or if it's going to be, off of 549.68, just because that was, the big level right there that you broke down from. But you did reject this trend line right here. You did close underneath the 21 EMA, which is going to be that white line. I'm just going to say, even though we did fade the move today, we didn't get back the whole move. I think there's a chance we're going to leave this gap unfilled there, and we will consolidate over the coming trading sessions and then continue moving up. That is, just how things are shaping up to me. But I am going to give you guys some levels here that are going to guide you, okay? So at the end of the day, tomorrow, no matter what, if you think this is going to be bought or not, if this level gets taken out right here, 529.71, that is, currently $7 below the current price. If 529.71 gets given up, if we start losing right here, and this is all probably bull trap here, we're probably going to continue lower. Now, I'm just going to say, you came up here once, you got bought up on the dip. You came up here twice, you got bought up on the dip in the same exact spot. You came up here 3 times. If you visit up here again, you are going to break it. You can have triple tops. We don't very often see the quadruple tops. If you come back up here and you test 544.28 tomorrow or the trading session after, we are probably going to break it. We have Google earnings coming after the close over there on Thursday. All right, so tomorrow after the close, we will have another catalyst here for a big move overnight. Not saying a big move comes overnight, but in this market, whether it be earnings, whether it be Trump doing his thing, you're going to get the big moves overnight. Okay. So as far as, levels go that we're going to be paying attention to, the end all be all, you want to be holding same spot over there on SPY. That spot over here for QQ is going to be 447.75. So it's 529.71 over there on SPY. It's 447.75 here on QQQ. If you do come down here and you can't hold there, if you start breaking down, then this is probably a bull trap. We are probably going, this is a trap. You are going to continue lower. But as long as we are holding this area where we're finding buyers here, we were already looking for that pullback. I was waiting for it, in the morning there. It just kind of took some time. We had to come up into resistance and then get slammed down. But, we were looking for it. We were looking for it to be a higher low pullback. And we were saying, odds are the buyers are going to, defend there somewhere on the pullback, create the higher low, and then come back up and then confirm that it's a higher low. And then we continue on. We don't know if that's going to be the case yet, but that was what I was personally looking for before this happened. So, I'm going to keep that stance here. Things do look good here. 452.63 is bringing buyers back into the mix. If you start, breaking down from right over here, today's low, that is when, we're just going to be open to the possibility of coming down to 447.75. And then that is going to be the line in the sand. You don't want to give this up. All right, so underneath 452.63, we have 450.08, 447.75, and then under there, we're probably going to revisit these levels down there, 443.06, and then 439.08. If you remember, 443.06, that was the level that really started this move up here. That is when, you break above that. Hey, all right, we're probably wrong. You're probably going to continue higher. That is what took place. All right, short the pops until you got over 443.06. What happened above that level? You had a $20 move. I could receive troll comments saying like, oh, this didn't pan out. Guys, I go over the TA. I give you both directions. Okay, both directions. I might have a bias, but there's usually an invalidation somewhere in these videos. And not somewhere. It's in every single video. I give you guys both levels, and you know what to be paying attention to. If you break under certain levels, guys, it's clip. All right, abandoned ship. It is what it is. It's just, you deal with probabilities as a trader. Anybody who isn't looking like that, I'm sorry, you just haven't been in the game long enough to realize that is all everything is. You don't have to be right all the time if you know where the probabilities are all the time. There you go. All right. On the upside, we are going to have 455.59, 458.58, 462.38 up there. And if you come back up here, you are probably going to test this supply zone above 465 up to 467.83. Break above there, we have that big 473 level. All right. And, if you can get above here, this is the big spot. So the supply zone, you expect sellers in there. We didn't quite test it today. But if we come into here, you expect sellers up there. But if we are to then, make it back up to today's high, yeah, we're probably just going to continue. We're probably not going to stop here. All right. From that point, this was your higher low pullback along your way, and you're probably going to make your way up here. All right. So that is QQQ. We'll go over the levels over here on SPY. All right. On the downside, you have 533.50. And then under there, you better hold 529.71. Bulls need to hold there, or you are open to these levels down there, 524.98 and 520.07. 524.98, 525. That was the key level here to, say that, yeah, we're probably going to be coming back up here and revisiting these highs. Got a $20 move past that. And that's just, it's, hey, if you're wrong, you got to know when you're wrong. You got to know when to, start flipping sides there. And that is what you got over here. But on the downside, 529.71, that is going to be that big level to hold. Now, on the upside, we're going to have 536.81. We're currently consolidating right around that level right now. Above there, 539.59. If you take out that level right there, we'll just go over the hourly time frame. Take out 539.59. You're probably going to be retesting 544.28. And at that point, I don't think you're going to fail there. I think you are going to break it. And you're going to test 549.68. We'll see what happens over there. All right, so that's really what we're watching over there on SPY and QQQ. I'm just going to point out, Nvidia, this was the only, real option trade that I was given into today, just because I didn't feel comfortable, advising anyone to be chasing calls or anything like that. But, over here, this was the rejection we were paying attention to. This is where Nvidia ended up breaking down from over here. So it was going to be a big spot if tested. You could have that. You could be risking over here. All right. Take the short off 104.77, risk 106.79. If you get above 106.79, that's where the 21 EMA is above there. It's also this high. You get above there, you're probably going to be revisiting these levels up there, anywhere from 110 to 115. But, as long as, this was holding there, this is where you were taking your entry. You were going to be targeting 103.01. That was going to be your one-to-one risk reward here. And then if you can really fade, you get all the way down to $100 over here. And that's where, this really starts paying. I don't know what we are going to get so far. I haven't changed this arrow since we were over here. It's still working out here. If you start giving up this low over here, 102.02, that point, you're probably going to come down to the next support, which is 113. Now, that is a psychological level, so we probably do get a reaction here. Even if it's just going to be dead cat bounce, you probably do get a bounce there, okay? We can adjust that arrow right over there. Okay? Above 104.77, watch 106.79, and then above there, 110 and 115 likely incoming in the short term. That is that. Tesla, I'll just point out some trade ideas for you guys. You just broke through this trend line today. Finally broke it, got the daily close, came back to retest it. This thing does look to me like it's probably going to be heading higher here. Just, keep in mind here, you're still under the weekly moving average. You could see a pop up here and you still can reject, but that, could be a $20 to $40 pop. Now I'll just point out what I'm liking over here. You broke out from that trend line. If you can take out 261, at that point, I think you're going to, have a straight push up here to 275 up there. Then above 275, you're watching for 291.85. 280, that is the cycle level that you're going to be paying attention to. That's where these sellers started stepping in over here. Okay, so that's Tesla. And last one I'm going to point out, well, I'll just, point out this guy, and then I'll show you the McDonald's chart as well. But Carvana over here, guys, if you do get above 225.80 tomorrow, watch for continuation on this name up to the next spot, which is, it's 238, but you're probably at that point going to go to the 240 cycle level and then hit the 0.618 fib over here, which is at 243. All right, so this is just something that's standing out to me over here. Weekly chart looks good. It's consolidating over here. You had the false breakdown. You got bid right back up. You do have this, heavily respected trend line here with plenty of touch points going on. You got the break above it today. You pulled back, all right, and buyers respected that retest there. 4-hour chart looks like it's ready to continue going. Let's see where we open tomorrow. If you open above 225.80, that sets you up for success over here. So that is going to be a watch for tomorrow. All right, and then aside from this, this is your swing setup over here. I think, I'm just going to point out monthly time frame is, everything's coming together. You got the monthly time frame. This over here suggests to me we could be seeing that little next move up, the $10 to $15 move from here. We could see that on the next monthly candle at the beginning of the month, just judging by how this weekly chart is set up. I don't think we're just going to have one massive candlestick over here. It can happen into the end of the week, but, I don't think that's the probable scenario. But I definitely do think this thing is set up to go the next week or the week after that. You do have earnings coming in next week. All right. So that's going to be next Thursday. I think you're probably going to, continue pushing into that. But we could get the move next week instead of this. We could stay, looking how we do right now over here. It would make sense to me to stay in consolidation for this week. But you got the monthly chart, you got the weekly chart, and then you have the daily chart. Everything looks pretty nice. You got an inverse head and shoulders pattern over here. All right. When everything, all the time frames align, that's usually when you get the biggest moves, the best, the cleanest moves. And this thing over here is definitely coming together on the lower time frames and those higher time frames. All right. Aside from that, guys, you could be focusing on Bitcoin over here. If it does pull back, one of these paths is probably going to be how this plays out over here, or we're just going to continue higher over here into the golden pocket. But the golden pocket is sitting right up there around 95.7K. So I do think we're probably going to be hitting that no matter what, whether it goes straight up there and then pulls back, or if we pull back to, your 90.7 to 92.7, which should act as a demand zone now, or whether you pull back to where you just broke out from 88.7K. Doesn't really matter. We're going to be looking for the higher low, and you're going to be looking for a move over here on coin and MSTR to follow along with those. I will point those out when they come. MSTR, either you're going to pull back to over here, whether it be 330 or a little bit lower, 320. Expect buyers to step in there. This thing has been getting ready for this move for about 2 months now. It is just now starting. I do think we are going to get, 380 to 400 on this move. So that is that. But yeah, coins, I know you're right underneath the 21 EMA over here, but, daily charts really coming together here. If you pull back and put in some sort of base here, that would be nice. I personally got out over here, though, for a clean 80% plus overnight. So we got that. Still a little salty about MSTR, the fact that, I was buying in under 320 and then I let this thing go to 360 without me. It is okay. But, I think there's still going to be more opportunity over here on coin and MSTR specifically. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. I know, only like 30% of us make it to the end of the video, but if you did enjoy the video, these are shorter videos. I'm trying to pack, as much info as possible into these in a shorter time so I can respect your time. We can, get the work done and, get along with our days, because at the end of the day, we're all human. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard to the community. We will continuously grow over here, our little corner of YouTube. And yeah, with that being said, I hope everybody has a lovely rest of the day. Peace.